So now I'm going to teach you how to do the last few steps of a basic IEP. We're going to click on Special Ed Service and we're going to add new services. Click Add New Service, and you're going to need again to fill in anything that is in red. So I am going to pick whatever service it is, individualized or specialized instruction. And then whether it's in the general education environment or the special education environment. How many times per? So is it one time a week? Is it one time a day? Twice a month? Whatever you had determined at the IEP, enter that in. And then you need to put in direct and indirect times. And the start and end date will automatically default to the start and end date of the IEP. If there's anything different, you are able to change that. For example, if you have a burst of service that's happening for a certain amount of time, or you know a certain service is ending at a certain amount of time, you can adjust that here. This extended school year will automatically default to no. We are not in the extended school year grid. We are in the regular special ed services grid. So please only leave it at no, because this is not a service talking about summer school. Then you're going to click the provider. Now the providers that will be here will be those that are allowed to be on that child's IEP. Get provider info, and it'll pull in their email and phone number, and then click submit. And you will notice that that service disappears. It tells me that it was successfully added, and now I can automatically just go and I can add in another service. So you can add in as many as you need to. And hit submit. Now another way, and again it tells me that it's up there. And so now if I want to look at all of the services, I can come back over here and click on Special Ed Service, and it'll give me a grid listing the services that I had created. You can then, or also append services. So if I'm appending, that means that my OT, my PT, my DAPE, they wrote a service themselves, again in draft components. So I can append something that they put in here. So just like before, I'm going to clear that so I can show you. So append a draft service, I'd come in and I'd see a new draft right here. It would say complete. I would acknowledge it. I would append it, say for it's the IEP that I'm currently working on, and hit submit. It's not letting me or it's giving me a warning saying it wasn't incomplete, but that's okay. We're just showing a demo, and it pulled in that service. Now you can edit. If you come back and you say, oh, I put in the wrong one, you can edit and it'll bring you right back into it, and you can hit submit again if you change something. And you can delete it if you completely wrote it wrong and want it off of there. You can also delete it. So now we're going to move into the least restrictive environment. This is a nice simple page. You just type in your LRE statement. You can also append. So if I typed in, I'm going to want to make sure I hit submit. It'll keep me on the page. And I can also append just like we have other. I don't have any LREs sitting here. For this, you usually don't have that many LREs coming from somebody else, but you can do the acknowledge just like we have on all of the other ones. Acknowledge and append, and it'll pull it in. So now we can go to extended school year. Our extended school year service is required for the student. That means that they have met the correct criteria for ESY. So have they met that, yes or no? We're going to say yes for this child so I can show you. So this child meets the criteria. And so I'm going to say that they've met criteria due to regression and recoupment on Objective 1 and Objective 2. So you need to come in then, and your objectives will be nicely typed out here, so you'll be able to know what you're clicking. But you would click whether it's regression and recoupment, self-sufficiency, or unique circumstances, and you will select the few objectives that you would like targeted during summer school. They're regressing and regressing on this objective, and it's taking a significant time to recoup that skill on these two. And they're intellectual, and so I might hit those. But this is not something where we come and hit everything. We click where we're seeing the concerns and where we think the child would benefit from having or qualifies for the ESY services. And hit submit, and that page is done. So then if you said yes to this page, you need to do ESY services. If you said no at the top, nope, they don't meet services or more data is needed, which you can also select more data needed. But if you said more data needed or no, you don't need to do ESY services, but if you did say yes, then we need to come in here and we need to add an ESY service. And this is just like we added services before. They're identical, except the one thing I would like you to note or like to show you, we're going to say special ed because it's summer school. We'll say they're coming 5 times a week or 4 times a week for a summer school class. Indirect, direct. These dates will obviously be different. They will reflect summer school dates, which are usually in July. So I would adjust these dates for the following July, or the next July. So we'll say July 8th to July 26th, whatever those dates are. So you will enter in the ESY dates. And then now, this also defaults to no, but I am saying this is an extended school year because I am in the extended school year service grid. So hit yes. Provider, you may not know the providers, so you could always select the special education staff, or you can select special education staff ESY, or the staff by the building, whatever your CELT has told you to do. And remember, that can be changed at a later time. So get provider info. It might pull in some generic info, so you might want to get rid of that. You don't want a teacher or a parent to have those zeros. So then hit submit. And you can then, again, it does the same thing. It saves it, but it gives you a fresh page. If there's another ESY service, you can enter it. Otherwise, if you click on ESY services, you'll be able to see all the services. So now our last page is assessments. We have state, district, limited English, and diploma requirements. Nobody will need, nobody has diploma requirements at this time, and that will be removed soon. State assessments. You have not applicable during that IEP year. Will participate without accommodations, will participate with accommodations, or will have an alternate assessment. So let's say for state assessments that they're okay. We think they're going to do fine. So they'll participate without accommodations. It could also be not applicable during that year. And if you notice up here, we give you the years that those tests are going to happen. This is a really nice section. You don't have to hit submit as you toggle between these 4 tabs. So now I can go to district-wide assessment. The MAP testing, this is K through 8. We're going to say that on this one, just so I can show you an example, that in reading, they're going to need accommodations. Selected that wrong. They're going to need accommodations. In math, they don't need accommodations, but in language, they do. So you notice I selected different, or you could have selected one for all, and they all would have highlighted. So now I have the accommodations popped up. These are the accommodations. So I now have accommodations for the MAP testing. It can be how things are presented. You can see we have specific accommodations for the ACT, special ones for the Explore pre-ACT, specific ones, this is presentation, and response. So we will select, let's say the presentation for this one needs to be, we need to have extended time, and that's my first one. And so this is for reading and language, because those are the ones that I said are going to have adaptations. And it could be something that's just for reading, or it could be something that's just for language. Then I'm going to submit. So now they have that accommodation. Now I'm going to say in reading they might need a different accommodation. In reading tasks, let's say they need frequent breaks. Language usage, they're okay, but in language, they definitely need frequent breaks due to frustration. And so I'm going to say that this is just for reading. And you can do that and hit submit. And now I have 2 in order: presentation, the extended time for both reading and language, and frequent breaks. So that is how all of these are going to work. As you go down, if you select any of these other options besides not applicable, or that they'll participate without accommodations, you will get a drop down that lets you then select. And if I selected the alternate assessment, the same thing would happen. I would get a drop down, and then the possible alternate assessment is listed for that test. So we could say they're going to do the alternate assessment for the Explorer. Otherwise, we can click not applicable, or they'll participate without accommodations. So then I'll hit submit. Limited English, we'll say this isn't applicable, and then again, diploma requirements is not applicable, and hit submit. And now you have completed all of the pages of the IEP. So we are going to click down here. So you've done all of these. If you are not a student in transition, we're not worrying about this section. That'll be a separate video. So we're down here. We're going to hit check completeness. And it's going to show me how we did. So all the checks show me everything that is all good. So I have one error here, and it's going to tell me either indirect or direct minutes must be specified. So I must not have put something in there when we were going quickly. So to get back there, I can click edit. Yep. So we're going to say 5 and 5. I hit submit. Oops, I'm still, special ed. This was being pulled off of an old IEP now that okay, so I have that fixed. So let's see now if when I hit check completeness, I have all of my checks straight down. Now it does sometimes give you some warnings if you said it's not applicable during that year or that they don't need accommodations. It will kind of give you warnings to make sure that you're picking what you need. And meeting attendance has not been recorded. Because we're showing you a demo, I have not gone in and have a meeting notice for this one where I went back and did attendance, which was demonstrated on another video. So I'm going to click everything's all good. Even those warnings, it's okay. And I'm going to make the document pending. So now my IEP is pending, and I can click here, and then I would be able to print it. And that is how we find or get an IEP into pending so we can print it to send home.